You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
JAMPRO aims to increase the export of non-traditional products and, of course, support the development of Jamaican MSMEs. To that end, they've partnered with the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association and the Jamaica Business Development Corporation to launch the third installment of Export Max. I'm Theodore Henry for Business Access TV. Stay with us.
It is good to be here, and it's a pleasure joining you for the launch of the third iteration of this program. This morning's event is a fitting tribute to the industry players and signals a great promise for the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and the importance that has been placed on export diversification. This launch seeks to build on the success of Exports Max 1 and 2, which together recorded over $2.2 billion in sales. Indeed, its previous success sets the stage for the implementation of this third iteration, which we are now undertaking on a much larger scale. Let me take this opportunity to commend the JAMPRO on conceptualizing and taking us this far with this program. And let's welcome our new Export Max partners, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation and the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. With their strengths, we'll be joining forces to improve and efficiently manage and implement the program. And I'd like to thank our sponsors and future participants. You have signed up for a game-changing program that will have national impact. Jamaica has strong export potential and growing export capacity. The imperative for achieving greater export performance and thus realizing export-led growth and global competitiveness in our exports as part of the export strategy is therefore of extreme importance as we strive for national prosperity and wealth creation. In the globalized economy, it is critical that Jamaica becomes highly organized in order to be fully integrated into the world economy in a manner that allows us to elevate our position on the global value chain and supply chains. Jamaica has been standing still for too long. Standing still while our trading partners have been taking steps to implement best practices for business and trade-friendly environments. This ministry, therefore, through its agencies, is seeking to attain greater diversification in the export industry by achieving higher value addition in priority tech sectors, increasing the value of non-traditional export of goods through increased volume and higher value addition, increasing the contribution of services exports as a percentage of our overall exports, including our creative industries, and increasing penetration in existing markets and accessing new and emerging markets. Let me add to that the specifics, some specifics which I want you to implant in your minds. There are three distinct underdeveloped markets. Let me just mention what those three are. The tourism industry. Too much of the fresh and processed foods that they consume are coming in on the planes with the tourists, and we have the capacity to supply them. Second, CARICOM. 16 countries in CARICOM. All of them are net importers of food, fresh and processed. Yet, we export precious little to CARICOM, and we have the privilege of exporting it duty-free. And what's the third significant market? The Jamaican diaspora. In Canada, the United States, and England, the market is as big as Jamaica. Somebody from London told me recently that because they cannot get what they want in Jamaica, they import the stuff from Africa and slap a Jamaican label on it. Castor oil, by the way. A lot of castor oil that is now being sold internationally with the Jamaica label on it. The raw material is not from Jamaica. Unacceptable. So as government, we are committed to promoting brand Jamaica to the world, identifying new trade and investment opportunities in order to spur economic growth. My ministry will continue to work with critical stakeholders to enable them to capitalize on opportunities in the export market, as more than ever, greater focus must be placed on growing our economy through exports. One of the things that the ministry is committed to doing is changing the soft infrastructure that will support the growth of trading across borders. To this end, a few weeks ago, we launched a trade facilitation portal that will house the information about all the various processes that underpin trading across our borders. It is our vision that the trade information portal will be the central source of information that will ensure that if someone is an exporter, or even if they are dreaming about being an exporter, they need only to visit this one place that will provide them with all the knowledge they need to navigate the trading process. On the heels of this, we are also excited about the progress that we are making in implementing a single trade electronic window for the government, which will see all the various government processes integrated into a single online system that will allow for all trade-related transactions to be done online, supported by a robust risk management system to protect the country's borders and its reputation overseas. And so Export Max is only one more prong in the government's network of activities that will allow for the framework for each and every exporter to experience success, and ultimately for us to achieve economic growth and prosperity in Jamaica.
Dorgan Global Regulatory and Compliance Services. The regulatory framework is always changing, making this environment increasingly complex and confusing for businesses. Regulations as national, international and supranational levels are being issued, amended or expanded, which sometimes makes it hard to navigate through the maze of orders, decrees, guidelines and circulars. This is not helped by the fact that businesses also need to assess the potential effects of future regulations. Dorgan Global professionals can help you manage compliance risks and operational essential to achieving lasting business success today, as compliance breaches can cause considerable damage, which may even put the future of a company at risk. Dorgan Global can help you make smarter, more effective decisions regarding regulatory and compliance matters. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dorgan.global, website www.dorgan.global.
So, welcome. So let me start out by asking Dan, Export Max, I know Export Max started within Jampro. Why Export Max 3 and what makes it different this time around?
Okay, thanks Claude, and good morning ladies and gentlemen. We are so excited to be here at the launch of Export Max 3. Why are we doing Export Max 3? It's actually one of the programs that I'm proudest of in my time at Jampro. I think that, as the Minister said, export is one of our critical pieces, is critical in our lifeblood. It's in our DNA. We have to export. We're a small island nation. We have tremendous products. We need to take them to the world in a more organized, systematic way where we respect standards, we understand the adaptability of our products to market demands, where we understand the markets that we are trying to penetrate. Export Max is that program. The results that we got out of Export Max 1 and 2 show what a deliberate program can do, where you start by diagnosing what does the product need to be adapted to market demand, what evolution needs to go on in the company itself. So it's not just the product, but it's also the management that must have the right mindset to penetrate international markets. So we're identifying that demand, identifying the market trends, helping the companies to adapt their products, and that mentorship, which we brought on in Export Max 2, is a critical component, because the ones who are successful must help the ones who have not started yet or who have not yet been successful. So that was the innovation of Export Max 2. And what we decided in Export Max 3 is that to more than double the number of companies in the program, we really couldn't do it alone anymore, because Export Max is a really labor-intensive and brain-intensive project. It needs a lot of time spent hand-holding companies, explaining export to them, helping their management to be ready. So we really needed the help of our partners, and we're really, really proud and excited and energized that we have two such fantastic partners, as well as the other sponsors who have come on board, because we need more expertise, we need more hands on deck. Export is not easy. Standards in the international market are constantly becoming more critical, more difficult. So we needed partners on board who could help us to interpret some of the issues on the international market, some of the standards. You see, Bureau of Standards is on board, and also to help galvanize those exporters to greater effort and to greater understanding. And then we needed the business development side that JBDC can bring to really help companies to develop their business plans, develop their loan applications, to become more formalized, develop their bookkeeping acumen. We think this is one of the most important programs that JAMPRO and the country have ever created, because we think that this is an integrated way of taking our MSMEs the next step forward. We are very excited, and we just want to have more participation from the MSME community, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and it's when you start on that journey of trying to understand how do I get from point A to point B that you start to realize what it is you don't know and how and where you can find help. So really this is a plea to and a stimulus and an encouragement and almost a demand of the SME sector listening to us today. You need to get on board, because this program can change your life professionally and change your export horizon.
Okay. Valerie, you decided without hesitation, came on board. Why did you see training and capacity building as such important components for exporters?
Our logo speaks for what we do, which is business development in the fulsomeness of it, and how can we help you. So we know for sure that capacity building is even beyond that thing called training. It's really getting into the nitty-gritty of the companies, the enterprises, looking at the concept, if it makes sense, whether local or external market, putting the proper structures in place, and as Dan says, formalizing the business. It means governance have to be in place. You have to know your numbers to know what stories are coming out. Worst, if you're thinking of exporting, you have to be really secure in moving forward. So we have been spending a lot of time with our client group preparing them for the market, because for us, global market is right here in Jamaica. So standards must be in place. Governance must be in place. And you must be thinking business. And I agree with Dan, we have to get over that hump of doing a little thing until some big job comes along, because it's not going to come along. So it means that we have to be innovative and we have to be on target for moving forward. We're going to be looking, as we said, as we had agreed, at all the innovative industries that have the possibilities for export. So food, niche markets, high quality, value-added products, non-food, services, certainly the technology-based industries, and the creative industries in all aspects. have to be part of that big umbrella. Our mandate is to help them.
Right.
So even if they come and they're not ready for Export Max, it doesn't mean that they can't be in the passageway.
Okay.
So they need not hesitate. They need to come forward. If they're not in that lane, it means you will prepare them for whatever is appropriate. So there is no reason to sit and wonder if. You need to come forward and let us work together and see which lane you are really in. And if you happen to move into this fast track, no, that's wonderful. If not, you're on the way to preparation. Because we must export. Dan keeps saying export or that. I think we have been in coma because we're waiting to die.
When we look at the program, or we look at life, we always like to say nobody born big. We all are a product of training, exposure, and experience. And you almost need all three in the right combination to be successful. So in the area of mentorship and advocacy, I think JMEA coming on board, which will have a portfolio of businesses that are already exporting, play a very important role. So I'd love to hear from you, Metri. Tell us in plain terms, how do you see the JMA supporting this effort and your decision to come on board?
Well, when I heard Diane and Valerie speak, I realized that what we have here is a perfect marriage.
Okay.
2 women and 1 man. No, I'm joking. No, seriously, what we have is a perfect marriage here. Because what we have is the JMEA that has the base of membership. Our membership base is about 400 companies, most of which and many of which are small to medium-sized companies, which is the base that we need. Then we have Valerie, who is going to do the business development process, and then Jumper, that's going to deal with the export market. What we bring to the table is a lot of hand-holding. We are about solving problems and solving issues. So they're going to have issues. There's no question about it. I think one of the ways we could say it is that we're a big brother to the companies, and we hold their hands and we walk with them through the process. We just go, Valerie will take them to a particular stage, and then we will take them from there until we're ready to hand them off to Jampro to really go and do the export. But I wanted to say that the JMEA is fully committed to this program. That's why we have joined. We recognize how important it is. And as Diane said, it is probably one of the most important initiatives that any agency in Jamaica has put in place. The numbers speak for themselves, and we hope to be a part of this process going forward for a long time to come.
How does one apply for the program? Could you give some thoughts on that?
Thank you. I was hoping you'd ask that question. We have a kiosk at the back. We have several Jampro members of our team here. We have an expression of interest form, which you can get from our team at the back. Copies of the form are also available from the various agencies and on our website. On our website, www.dobusinessjamaica.com, you can download this expression of interest form and send it in, and we will be happy to contact you and start the journey with you, because this is a journey. It's a 3-year program. This is really about helping you through a process and on a journey to success. Tell your associates, people you know who have a product or who even have an idea. They can start talking to JBDC from the idea stage. So let's create a movement that can change export.
Thank you, Dan. So I'll throw it out. Any final thoughts?
This is an example, the collaboration, the example how we in Jamaica should work together. Because no one institution or person has all the skills, all the information. And until we start putting the ego behind the door and working together, we're not going to move. So I'm celebrating from JBDC the kind of collaboration that we have agreed to have between our agencies. I think it's a good move, and we know success is down the lane.
Metri, any final thoughts?
In closing, I would ask everybody in this room when you leave here today, call 5 persons that you know that are in business. Let us be oversubscribed.
Yes.
Let us have that problem. Let us reach back out to our sponsors and tell them that we need more from them, because this is good for Jamaica.
Thank you, Metri.
We have some Export Max graduates in the audience, and I think it's important not only to hear from us, but to hear from people who are actually on the program. So dare I say that Rita Hilton is on his
Yeah, they're going to be on the program. Yeah,
So Rita, Omar, I think you're all going to talk later on. So.
All right, a round of applause for the head of agencies. Thank you very much.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but 4 walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
I'm going to invite some past Export Max participants to speak. Rita Hilton from Carita, Jamaica, and Omar Azan, CEO Boss Furniture. So in the spirit of ladies first, I'm going to ask Rita Hilton to come and just give a couple of remarks about her experience with Export Max.
I think this is a great opportunity. Having benefited from Export Max 2, I'd like to highlight some of the things that made it so important for me and what the results have been like. It was important for me because it allowed me to step into the Caribbean export market. Carita has been in business for 34 years, and our whole business is aligned with exports. We were primarily involved in fresh produce exports, but recently we've been adding value to Jamaican products and trying to build up that component of bringing more value to Jamaica. Now, with Export Max 2, what did I benefit from? Going into the Caribbean market, which I didn't know at all, and I have to tell you that out of that, we have one concrete market which we opened in the Bahamas. And that partner has been so impressed with our output that they have come with a proposal to invest in our company and buy equity into our company. I learned that I wasn't really completely prepared to take advantage of all the opportunities. So if you're going into Export Max 3, come with an open mind. You think you know it, you don't know it. Learn, absorb, and execute. You need to have a partner on the ground in the territory that you're going to be working with that will teach you about that market and the market needs. It's not Jamaica, and it is not the globe. It is a very special type of market, and each market has its own needs. So keep an open mind, learn from the opportunities. What was wonderful is the amount of work that Jampro put in before we went into the markets. And that was the critical success of the Export Max 2. Into every territory that we went, there were buyers available, and it wasn't the underlings that came to the market opportunities. They were high level personnel that came to talk business and to do business. The other thing that I learned so much from is the capacity building. You think you know how to run a business? Well, you don't, because the way you start is not the way you grow and keep on growing. You see all this white hair? That comes from years and years of learning. I started as a high school teacher, and our exports have reached close to 3 million US. And those are sales. That is not money to spend. That's money that you invest back in your business after you've paid the expenses. So don't think that you've achieved success and can drive a Mercedes-Benz. I still drive a pickup, okay?
I'll just say that for me, for my company, it's been an amazing experience. The team has been behind. There are times when I wasn't even up to doing some of the things, and they came and sat in my office and said, Omar, listen, we need you to get this thing done. And they would push me to do it. Today, I'll say historical. This is our first time in history that our company has receivables. Today, I checked it this morning, from 14 different countries owing me money at the end of this month to pay me, to pay my suppliers, where I think at the end of this month, I can probably pay all the suppliers I owe from just a foreign exchange earning. So that is a huge, huge, huge difference than where I was a few years ago. This is an excellent thing that JAMPRO is doing. I'll say it. You know me, I talk the truth every time I come up on the podium to speak. And, you know, we need to just get everybody behind this. Our Jamaican people, our staff in our factories, we need to push our exports to get this country going. Thank you.
I am inspired and excited this morning. And I want, on behalf of the entire team, JAMPRO, JMEA, JBDC, I just want to say thank you all for coming out and hearing this program and participating in this launch. So we're going to take you into the Caribbean, Europe, and the USA to sell your goods and services and to return with those all-important contracts and to deliver on the promise that you would have made to be a champion exporter. I expect this program will be a positive, life-changing experience for you and your businesses. So where do we go from here? The steps are very easy. We are inviting all business owners here to complete the registration expression of interest form. Following the expression of interest, you'll be required to complete a more in-depth application form. The deadline for submission will be January 30, 2019. Final selection of participants will be done by March 15, 2019. And by April, MOUs with all the participants will be signed, and that's when the real work begins. But it will be exciting, it will be fun.
This has been the launch of Export Max 3, and I've been your host, Theodore Henry. Keep watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Do you want to build your company's capacity or export your products or services to new global markets? Then you can be a part of Export Max 3, an enterprise development program for Jamaican companies. Sign up today. Applications close January 31, 2019. Expand your business for export growth. Visit dobusinessjamaica.com for details. Export Max 3. Grow beyond borders. It's brought to you by JAMPRO, JMEA, and JBDC.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point. Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
One of the most striking things about Jamaica is how elements of our natural landscape come together to create such a memorable and stunning sight, a lot of which forms part of our legacy. And how fitting the theme for this year's Heritage Month celebration, our heritage, a great legacy. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome and thanks for tuning in to Jamaica Magazine. October is Heritage Month, and for many, this means taking the time to celebrate our culture and savor the beauty of our island home. Well, that's exactly what the JIS team did. But just before we get to that, today's news. Stay with us.
For over 40 years, the European Union and Jamaica have enjoyed a partnership built on shared values, trust and respect. Through a joint cooperation program, the EU is supporting Jamaica to achieve its development goals outlined in Vision 2030. Key areas of support include justice, financial reform, poverty reduction, health, human rights and democracy, environmental protection and agriculture, Jamaica and the European Union, promoting sustainable development and creating opportunities for all Jamaicans.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 30. Jamaica and the United States have signed a new intelligence sharing agreement to fight transnational organized crime. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang gave the update during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He said the agreement, which replaces one signed in 2005, was finalized on October 23.
We expect to conclude a similar agreement with Canada in short order. We operate under a different protocol with the United Kingdom, which is also being finalized.
Effective immediately, children 12 years and younger can access free medical care at the University Hospital of the West Indies. The new arrangement was put in place by the Ministry of Health and Wellness to help relieve the burden on the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Bustamante and other hospitals are dealing with overcrowding as the country faces seasonal increases in viral illnesses, including dengue fever, the flu, and gastroenteritis. With the ministry's intervention, children with any illness can be seen and treated by the medical team at the University Hospital at no cost to their parents. At the same time, approximately 20 health centers across the island are now operating under extended opening hours, some up to 10 p.m. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie is reminding persons that they should only take paracetamol and visit the nearest health center if a fever or any respiratory illness lasts more than 3 days. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has instructed the Ministry of Education to examine the issues surrounding Monday's freak accident that claimed the life of a 7-year-old student. The Prime Minister has also called for safety and security procedures within schools to be tightened. He was speaking yesterday during a visit to the Clancarthy Primary School in Kingston, where Grade 2 student Benjamin Bear was killed by a runaway garbage truck.
This is truly a great tragedy. It saddens me deeply. And I'm certain that the teaching staff and the school community generally is very saddened by this. And we want to extend to Benjamin's parents our deepest sympathies.
Mr. Holness, who was accompanied by Education State Minister Orlando Terrelong, says the ministry will be carrying out investigations to see what measures could have been taken to prevent the incident.
Such as setting collection times that do not overlap with school times, ensuring that there is a service level standard set in the contracts for garbage collections so that you can regulate the state of repair of the trucks that are used to collect garbage, and many other areas that I think myself and the Minister of Education and the Minister of State will look at along with the technical professionals at the Ministry of Education.
The Prime Minister says this probe is separate from that of the police, who will conduct their own investigation. In the meantime, a team of counsellors has been dispatched to the primary school for grief counselling. A tripartite agreement has been launched to reduce the amount of solid waste that is released into the Kingston Harbour. The Raytown Plastic Recycling Pilot Project will also provide income-generating opportunities around plastic recycling for the downtown Kingston-based community. The project is being implemented by the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, and the UN Environment Caribbean Sub-Regional Office. Funding is facilitated by the Japanese government through the UN Environment Office at a cost of approximately $18 million. Executive Director of the NSWMA, Audley Gordon, says the project will enhance awareness of the impact plastic pollution has on the shoreline and communities.
Whether it be leptospirosis in the case of rats or dengue in the case of mosquitoes. We are the cause. Our bad behavior is what results in those things. And I'm again saying that we must begin to change the way we treat solid waste at source.
Mr. Gordon was speaking at yesterday's launch of the project held at Courtyard by the Marriott in New Kingston. Proposed amendments to regulations governing the operation of public bodies will be tabled in Parliament by the end of November. Minister of Finance and the Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark says government is in the final stages of amending the regulations. He says the amendments will bolster the governance framework for public bodies. Among them, a stipulation that a minimum of 1/3 of public bodies' board members should be carried over from one political administration to the next. The minister says this will allow consistency across administrations and institutions, which would also mute the ability of any government to exert undue pressure on public bodies. He adds that the new regulations will ensure that public body board appointees meet minimum predetermined criteria.
But what we mean by predetermined qualifications is that everyone who is appointed to the public board will come from a pool of persons whose qualifications, or lack thereof, have been verified. So persons who have gone through some amount of diligence. And in so doing, Jamaica will simply be replicating what happens elsewhere in the world.
Minister Clark was addressing Monday's start of a 3-day meeting of the Standing Committee of Caribbean Statisticians in Kingston. And finally, university students, interns, and graduates can now find creative solutions and effect real-life changes in the energy industry through the commissioning of the Innovation Lab, or iLab. The $7 million facility was established through a partnership between the Jamaica Public Service Company and Marubeni Power International and launched on Tuesday. The iLab will provide students and graduates with valuable work experience in the energy industry. Energy Minister Favour Williams has lauded the partners for the new venture, which she says should result in new products and solutions to benefit Jamaica and the world.
With the plethora of changes anticipated, we need a cohort of young people who are equipped with the skills and competencies to lead the energy revolution. And I believe your work and this Innovation Lab will do just that.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
It's referred to as Jamaica's second city, and it's one of the island's top tourism destinations. Montego Bay St. James, with its vibrant hip strip, white sandy beaches, and captivating resort life that continues to beckon to persons outside the region, is a beautiful place. But even more beautiful are some of the hidden treasures in the parish. In today's Round the Bend, we experience some of the most authentic and fulfilling experiences you can imagine. Walk with me. After treading the rocky riverbed of the Montego River, following the footpath on its bank, you will be escorted to a hidden gem, the Rastafari Indigenous Village. This 10-year-old village, which is tucked away in Portobello, Montego Bay, was established by a group of Rastafarians who have come together to preserve their culture and introduce visitors to their way of life and teachings.
Our philosophy is one of harmony, and music shows you clearly that difference is not something that can stop you from being harmonious. Why? because everyone plays a different beat, everyone makes a different sound, but still it comes together to make one music. And that's the message of Rastafari, that even though we're from different places, different skin tone, different eye colors, we can celebrate these differences instead of allowing them to separate us, so we can create one beautiful song for the human experience and the planet.
During this time, visitors are served fresh fruits in bamboo, and they can also get a chance to learn the art of traditional drumming. After relishing the pulsating tunes of the drums, visitors are then escorted to the various stations in the village, where they will be further immersed in the Rastafari culture.
You eat from a calabash, you feel like you're a little pepped up, you know?
We use a combination of seeds and stones, coconut shells to make all these jewelry. But this is where now you get a chance to, get something natural for yourself, family, and friends. If you want to make anything, like earrings, we have the sticks. You put the beads on and we put the hook on for you. If you see anything that you want to get, then it's there, no charge for touching, only if you hold it too long.
This is what I do. I may drum. But this is something, if you don't love it, you're not going to do it. Yeah, because you see what I was just doing? Just digging. Just digging. But you cannot afford to make no mistake. This fell apart, but this drop on your finger. You know what it's like. Some of my fingers, they are not straight. They are broken bones, cracked bones, and I lose my nails sometimes. But because I love what I do, pain is to me like nothing.
So this is where we make natural soaps with the material around us. And coconut oil is the main oil in this process. We put the coconut oil with sodium hydroxide dissolved in water. And that's the basic soap formula. Different measurements are used. We incorporate some soaps, fragrance oils, essential oils as well. You can open and you can smell.
We do not use water in our juices. We only use sugarcane in our juices, yeah? You know what this is?
Ginger.
Ginger. So in all of our juices, we have sugarcane and ginger. If you call Rastafari a coconut movement, you'll be correct, because we use coconut to do every single thing. So, I'm going to take you to coconut heaven. On the back of your hands, I'm going to give you a drop of coconut love. Yeah, man. So this is extra virgin coconut oil. We use this on everything that we have, our salads. Yes, we use coconut.
The Rastafari village is definitely not an all-inclusive resort, but persons can visit the wellness center for a moment of relaxation or stay overnight in one of the numerous cabins on location. There's also an organic vegetable and herb garden you can explore. But if after the tour you still crave even more one-on-one experiences of the Rastafarian way of life, then the monthly Iritz concert is all you need.
And we live for the plans to be free, and we build our own society.
We started Iritz in January 2018. And, as a group of Rastafari people who are here, we had always been planning, to say that we must see how culture can cure. A lot of the musicians from Montego Bay, they always have to migrate to go somewhere else. And there are just so much traditions that are dying. And along with all of these things that are dying, we think that we could facilitate them under one umbrella. So Iritz became that umbrella of wellness. It became that umbrella for food. And it became a space where music and of course everything else to do with culture.
The event, which is held on the last Sunday of each month at 1 o'clock, never fails to bring out some of the best talents you can find.
There in the cover of the darkness, we watch and wait. We know exactly what to say, 'cause you've been caught before.
I tell you, we just can't take no more.
If you're looking for the perfect opportunity to learn about the Rastafari community, indulge in its way of life, and become one with their culture, you know where to go.
It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up. Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Answer this question in an essay of 400 to 500 words and submit using the application form on our website, jis.gov.jm. Entrants must be aged 9 to 12 years old. Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132. You may also email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, and heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm. Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019. All we are saying is give trees a chance. Government is leading by example with the recent launch of the 3 Million Trees in 3 Years program. Find out more in this next feature.
Climate change is real. We must address it in order to secure our future. Our children are depending on us.
And so the government has launched an initiative which will see a tree being planted for every Jamaican on the island. These 3 million trees will be planted over a 3-year period across the length and breadth of Jamaica land we love.
Planting trees, of course, is one of the ways in which Jamaica is taking deliberate, strategic, and decisive action to mitigate the effects of climate change.
The program will be managed by the Forestry Department with support from the European Union's Development Fund.
€1 million of the total amount will be specifically dedicated to reforestation and maintenance of degraded lands, with special attention to species that are indigenous to Jamaica.
Our aim is to improve the resilience of our coasts, hillsides, and plains, while also improving the beauty of our urban centers, major thoroughfares, parks, and the added effect of offsetting greenhouse gas emissions.
All the trees that we are planting over the next 3 years will be for nothing if we don't deal with the issue of the degradation of the forests. Ladies and gentlemen, if our forests are cut down without regard for sustainable forest management, we all know that our watersheds and our water supply challenges will worsen.
The 3 Million Trees initiative will focus on 3 main areas.
It would be one that protects our coast, including mangroves, one that does general forestation, one that includes urban forestation, and on the other side,
We're going to have a national fruit tree planting program of 3 million fruit trees to be planted as well.
In addition to 1,000 Hope interns that will benefit under the program, employment opportunities will be provided for persons from communities adjacent to areas to be planted.
Two million timber seedlings will be planted on over 3,000 hectares of land managed by the Forestry Department. The department will distribute the remaining plants, a mixture of timber and ornamentals, to the public.
We want to get more of the private sector adopting hillsides. These are lands that we manage, that we want to just take charge and be responsible for the maintenance of all of that.
To ensure that the seedlings remain viable and transition into healthy forest, a mobile app using GPS technology is being finalized. This private-public sector partnership will see the monitoring and tracking of the plant's progress.
Because it's nice that we plant the trees today, we take a lot of pictures and everything, but what happened to those trees afterwards? So we really want everybody to ensure that the trees we plant today, we return to them, ensure that they are still growing, and check on the trees we planted last year.
We are taking a different approach with this project to ensure its success. Over the next 3 years, we will be rolling out different aspects of the initiative through public education campaigns focused on the preservation of the environment.
The challenge has been thrown out. Will you answer the call? Will you dedicate a portion of your land for planting trees? Will you adopt a hillside to stop landslides? Will you ensure that the trees you've planted are nurtured? We can do it. We should do it. We must do it.
It is hope that this action will ignite in every single Jamaican the understanding, the will and the commitment to play their part in securing Jamaica's environment and making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
Coming up next, the Blue Maho, one of our many national symbols. Learn why it's our national tree.
The Blue Maho belongs to a family called Malvaceae. It's the same family that includes ornamental shrubs like shoeblack. So the scientific name for the Blue Maho is Hibiscus elatus. I imagine that the specific name, which is the elatus, would indicate the fact that it is lofty and grows to great heights. The Blue Maho, as everyone knows, is our national tree. Jamaica has well over hundreds of native trees. It's easy to understand that the combination of characteristics that makes the Maho unique is probably what gave it the edge over all those other hundreds of trees. The native range of the Blue Maho is to the northeastern corner of Jamaica, which is Portland, sections of the Jonker Mountain. The bloomer hoe blooms in the latter part of the calendar. The typical color is a kind of flaming reddish orange. It's more red than orange. The older the flower becomes, the redder it becomes. It bears a pod that splits in the drier part of the early section of the year, the first quarter of the year. And the forestry department propagates the species by collecting the pods. We process them by drying them in trays, and then we extract the seeds. The traditional uses is a fairly wide array. It's used for furnishings, for furniture, for turnery, so you can make articles out of it.
The beauty of it is not much seen when you just cut it, but when the furniture is made and you look at it, you see various colors, and they go in streak and streak. And they're not looking so nice until when they varnish it. It's not stained or anything, just when they polish it off when it's finished. So they use it a lot now. It's strong. It reminds me of the lignum vitae, but the lignum vitae doesn't have those streaks in it like the bloomer hoe. So it makes it very special.
I think people confuse the name lignum vitae and the name bloomer hoe with their roles as national symbols, the one being the national flower and the other being the national tree.
One of our most unique heritage is the diversity in the names of some of the places in Jamaica. And that also helps to make here an interesting place to live, work, raise families, and of course do business. Here are a few. Number 1, Danks. This place is found in Clarendon and was the name given to a property Sir Henry Morgan deeded to his German wife, who said Danke, meaning thanks. Number 2, Save Rent. This is located in Westmoreland, and this is named after the Frenchman Savrant, who owned the property between 1773 to 1811. Number 3, August Town. It is thought to have been named memorializing the month when slaves were made free, August 1, 1838, our Emancipation Day. Number 4, Savannah La Mar. The chief town and shipping port in Westmoreland was the Sabana de la Mar, or the plain by the sea of the Spaniards. During English occupation of the island, the de was dropped and the name became Savannah La Mar. Number 5, Bogwalk. Located in St. Catherine, this was originally the Boca de Agua, or water's mouth of the Spaniards, changed to Bogwalk by the English after their occupation of the island in 1655. And that's all the time we have for you on today's show. But if you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or our YouTube channel. Don't forget to keep up with us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. And remember, our heritage is our legacy. Let's help preserve it. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
How much do you know about the LPO industry? Well, today you are in luck. We are here at the Norman Manley Law School for JAMPRO's Legal Process Outsourcing Forum. I'm your host, Amita Prasadweb. Please stay tuned.
So this forum is designed to define and explain legal process outsourcing. What are the risks? What are the challenges? We're aware that India is often given as the model for legal process outsourcing. And some of the similarities with our jurisdiction is that we have a common law system. We have lawyers who are trained proficiently in English. We have a tradition of an independent judiciary. I think it's on display right now. We also have, and I'm sure former graduate would agree with me, freedom of the press. And therefore, we have all the groundwork for being very similar to being very successful with LPO. But there are challenges, and we need to know them. And so I'm sure that this forum today is going to identify those for you. We hope that it will be a market that in 10 years from now, Jamaica will be a major player, but that we've managed all the risks and we're not doing it at a low level, but we are actually ensuring that we're engaging in high-level skills.
Legal process outsourcing is simply the activity of retaining non-traditional service providers in the legal space to do certain kinds of legal work for companies and law firms in developed countries.
So I don't need to be a lawyer?
It depends on the work that you're doing. So, legal process outsourcing can involve work that doesn't necessarily require a lawyer, but generally speaking, lawyers are the ones delivering these services. Some countries have moved first on the opportunity to capitalize on some of this work now flowing out of places like North America and the UK. And those countries have certain things in common. They have a large number of English-speaking legal professionals. They have good IT infrastructure or ICT infrastructure. And they can deliver legal work, certain kinds of legal work, or in fact, a lot of the legal work we do for lower rates and at least comparable quality. The legal industry latched on to this LPO idea, and that's reflected in the value of the LPO industry. So in 2016, estimates vary, but reasonable estimates have the LPO industry in 2016 at $4 billion US. By 2024, estimates have the industry at 40 billion, around 40 billion US dollars. That's not just significant money, but it's even more significant growth over a very short time. Now, when I see these numbers, I think, how do we and how does Jamaica participate in this growth in a meaningful way? How do we get a sliver of that $40 billion that's up ahead? We don't need the entire 40, and in fact, we can't have the entire 40 billion. We need a sliver of that 40 billion. This is substantial business, and Jamaica is in a good position to participate in that in some way. We need to determine what that way is and how we do that. Currently, there are 6 key areas that are outsourced from North America and the UK. There's contract drafting, which involves playing a role in the process of how contracting is done by lawyers for their clients. So often you find, the contract, a draft is sent, it's negotiated, it's signed, but then everybody sets that down and it's forgotten. Nobody tracks the risks, nobody tracks the life cycle of that contract, whether they're staying inside the provisions or not, and that's become a key area for LPOs. LPO providers have gone to companies and said, well, let's take that off your hands. That's relatively low value but high risk work. And they handle, some LPOs handle end-to-end. They handle the negotiation of the contracts and management of the life cycle of the contract. Some will manage the life cycle of the contract after it's been negotiated by the company and their lawyers. There's compliance assistance, which is becoming more important these days. And that involves, for example, with the relatively new anti-money laundering regulations in these countries, there are new requirements on companies to be able to satisfy these compliance obligations. And again, high risk, but to the overall company, low value. And this, again, is one of the areas where LPOs are doing well at going to the companies and offering well-trained lawyers to take care of this piece of what the company has to do. E-discovery, which is where I started as it relates to LPO activities, is the biggest piece of the LPO market currently, and is one of the areas set to, as you will see later once we get to that section of the presentation, set to experience the biggest piece of the growth going forward. And e-discovery, for those who don't know, involves the disclosure and production of documents in litigation or in some regulatory context, like securities. And that's the whole process of collecting those documents, getting them into a format that lawyers can review, having lawyers review them, determining what is to be disclosed and what is to be produced, and then producing those documents to a regulator or to the other side of a litigation. In a nutshell, that's what that is. Again, high risk, but to the company overall, low value, but also high cost if you continue to do this in North America or the UK. Some LPOs are in the business of what they call managed review. So irrespective of what the review is, whether it's in the litigation context or regulatory context or otherwise, you have tons of documents to review. They will provide you with the project managers, the technology, and the processes by which you can accomplish what you need to accomplish with this review of documents. Patent support is another area where significant growth is expected over the next few years. And this goes anywhere from managing patent portfolios to the actual filing of patents, which has increased relatively significantly in North America in the last couple of years. Litigation support is really a sub piece of e-discovery. And that's some of the more technology-driven pieces of the process where, the documents, for example, you go into a company, you collect their documents from their IT infrastructure. It would be really inefficient for a lawyer reviewing those documents to be opening each document, to be requiring the native application to open each of these documents. So PowerPoint, you have to open in PowerPoint and review. Then you have to open Word in Word. Litigation support offers the ability to convert those documents relatively quickly into a seamless format where a lawyer can review document by document and provide his or her input on those documents in a seamless way. But that's really a piece of the e-discovery process. So the US and Canada are generally outsourcers, but are also outsourcing locations because there are firms in the US and Canada where companies will outsource their work, their alternative legal services providers operating in those countries as onshore outsourcers. The UK in Europe is a big outsourcer, and again, also has some onshore outsourcing happening. In Asia Pacific, India is the big one. Australia is coming on stream. China for very particular functions in the space. Brazil and Mexico, not quite there. And so, but South Africa is one of the leading jurisdictions for LPO services. You have a company like Exigent, for example, that operates out of South Africa. And we'll talk about this again later, but all these outsourcers, one of the key success factors for them is having boots on the ground in the countries from which the work is being outsourced. I operate in the Canadian market, so I thought I'd use Canada as an example to show you the kind of growth that's expected for the LPO industry in each of these areas that we just talked about. And you'll see that e-discovery, patent support, and litigation support are by far the largest benefactors of the growth we'll see going forward. This information is there to plant the seed in your mind as to if you're thinking about getting into this space, where do you focus your energy? It makes sense to focus your energy on the areas where big growth is expected.
How much do you believe in the viability of the LPO sector here, and why?
I think it's a quite viable sector in Jamaica for a number of reasons. So first is Jamaica has a big supply of well-trained English-speaking lawyers who are able to deliver quality service for lower fees than companies or law firms can get in certain jurisdictions. Jamaica is also strategically located in the world. So we're right in the backyard of North America, for example, where we can almost seamlessly become a part of a legal team in that country, being on the same time zone, for example. We're close enough to the UK and have strong enough ties with the UK to be able to be an extension of a UK team as well. We have a common law in legal infrastructure in Jamaica. There are legislation and laws in Jamaica that are modeled off laws from some of these countries as well. So it's not an unfamiliar place to do that kind of work or that kind of business.
A few of the challenges that were mentioned earlier in regards to location, time zone, scalability, and then privacy. Can you speak to some of that?
I'll take scalability first because I think that's one of the bigger limiting factors for Jamaica. If you compare Jamaica to India, for example, which is one of the main outsourcing locations in the world, the population is massive in India, and the number of well-trained lawyers you might get in India is a lot larger than it is in Jamaica. And Jamaica is restricted by the fact that we're not really that many people when you compare us to other places in the world. But what's interesting to note, though, is the impact that technology is having on some of the services that are outsourced is actually, I think, is a positive for Jamaica. Because with the technology now, you need less people to be delivering these services. And so I think that puts Jamaica in even a stronger position going forward. The LPO industry is rapidly growing. I mean, estimates vary, but we're looking at growth between 2016 or 2017 from $4 billion US to $40 billion US. That's a massive compounded annual growth rate for that industry. And I think that shows us the kind of promise that's in that space for countries like Jamaica that's already doing very well in the general business process outsourcing space. It excites me particularly because it's a means by which Jamaica can add some sophistication to what we're able to deliver in terms of labor, in terms of work, and being able to insert Jamaicans into the international, the global value chain in the way that we can insert Jamaican lawyers in the value chain, I think is an exciting thing for Jamaica.
Speak to us about the LPO forum today at the Norman Manley Law School.
All right, so we decided to have this LPO forum because one of the things we're trying to do is start the LPO industry because it's one of the industries that's growing rapidly worldwide. And I believe there's a tremendous opportunity for Jamaica to carve out a niche in this space. As you know, we have already been successful in the business process outsourcing industry. In a number of industries, we are doing it in healthcare, we're doing it in tech support, We're doing it in finance and accounting. We're doing it in HR. So we've been very successful in that industry. And a lot of the characteristics that drive success in that industry are the same characteristics that can allow us to be successful in the LPO industry.
What would you say are some major challenges for a few of your attendees here today?
To wrap their mind around the changing construct of the way work is done and, you know, the changing characteristics of the legal profession. If you think about it, because of globalization, a lot of professions are being disrupted. You'll talk to architects who'll tell you people are now downloading drawings from the internet and just customizing it for the country. If you look at the whole BPO industry, work is sliced up, and you have people being hired with no degrees, for example, and they are trained to be specialists in a particular area. So in Jamaica, for example, we have people with 5 CSEC subjects who are doing level 3 tech support in a telecoms environment. Why? Because you can train them and create expertise and excellence, service excellence in people in specific slices. So if you take the area of legal process outsourcing, similarly, there are areas that, you know, whether it be intellectual property, patent registration, contract review. These are areas that you can have highly specialized skills doing work, you know, here in Jamaica. So, you know, I think what we have to wrap our heads around is we need to find the next entrepreneur in this space who will understand the opportunity, put in the hard work to develop it, because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen one of 2 ways. It's going to happen where either as Jamaicans we take advantage and create the businesses that are serving the world in the legal space, or other companies are going to discover this gem called Jamaica with the number of legal professionals and talent here and set up facilities, and we'll just be working in those facilities.
We're talking BPOs, LPOs now. What's next for JamPro and doing business in Jamaica?
Right. So, you know, we're on a mission. So obviously the BPO industry is, and let me say outsourcing industry, because it's very broad. We're looking to grow that industry significantly. We expect, right now we're at about 32,000 people. We expect to get to about 50,000 in the next 2 years. And we're always looking to enhance the portfolio mix of work that's being done in the country. So like anything else, you're trying to increase the complexity of work being done, because the more complex the work, the higher the pay, right? So we really have our eyes on 2 things in that space. So to grow the numbers and to enhance the mix of work being done, because, you know, similar if you think of what happened in the US, right, with outsourcing of manufacturing jobs. You know, the thinking was, oh, we'll outsource these lower-end jobs and do the higher value design work. But I think what they forgot in that equation is that not everybody can be a rocket scientist. Right. So you need jobs at all levels. So no different in all outsourcing space, you're going to have jobs at all levels. And what we're always looking to do is enhance the mix of those jobs.
And by now you would have understood what LPO means. But stay tuned for more. We're going to a break.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up a Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm Jean Laurichin, and I'm the Executive Director of ProCom, ProDev, and CCRP. BATV had heard about our outreach arm, which is a Caribbean community of retired persons. I think BATV is having a very positive impact. And as a result of that excellent feature, we got more members. So clearly people are watching BATV. I always say to my clients, you should have a 360-degree campaign. Do not limit yourself to one media house. And especially those who are in business, I think it's very important to include BATV in their portfolio.
Local law firms, I believe, can create capacity. It doesn't have to be an entire staffing agency. Local law firms can create capacity to train legal staff in the core skills needed in an outsourced project. It's not getting into the subject matter of the foreign law. And then the staffing agencies overseas who already have that capacity can simply identify a Jamaican law firm that has that potential and engage them directly. Or the overseas law firm can engage the person, the entity in Jamaica, directly. And then, this is the message now for the law students, is that you would associate yourself with a law firm or a staffing agency within a law firm, and you would receive information on upcoming legal outsourcing projects that you can apply for. So I would stay in my apartment while I'm studying for the bar and say, okay, I'm sending off my resume to these 20 persons, and then they would now keep in touch with me to say, okay, as soon as you set the bar, you can work under your pending status, and these are the projects. So I could pick, choose, and refuse, generally by the dollar figure, and the interest, because I was thinking also about building my career. So I selected projects in intellectual property, antitrust, and global projects, because I knew I was heading back to Jamaica. But I wanted to have this opportunity to be inside some of the most serious litigation and cases that even when I was back in Jamaica, I would say, oh yes, now it's finally, now they're in court. This is something I worked on 2, 3, 4 years in advance at the discovery stage. So I think what really we'll be looking at would be an LPO litigation manager, somebody who has schooled themselves in those different software that I mentioned before, and sort of had some sort of association with a particular jurisdiction, and is comfortable, whether you have a JD or you are trained in the UK, or you have been trained by someone who has been exposed to the ins and outs of that system, which is just a little bit more technical in terms of the expanded way e-discovery or the civil procedure rules are used upfront. We kind of just move into the litigation a little bit more, and then we ask for the list of documents, and if something is needed, then you'd make a request for information, but it's done a little earlier in first world countries. Staffing agencies. We have a lot of law students who are graduating, and of course you have the benefit of once you have your hard-earned certificate of legal education, you are ready to go. So you can now send your resume to this agency and be ready to take on projects. And paralegals. Paralegals also play a role in this. They don't need to have international certification, but what they need to be is familiar with those rules I spoke about, and it's generally relevance, privilege, that sort of a thing. I put there that the Jamaican Civil Procedure Rules, Part 28, is a great start for anyone, and also just to look online on YouTube to see how those e-discovery software would work. And lastly, as I wrap up, I know what's on everybody's mind, or the minds of many, is will it be worthwhile financially? I can tell you, in the US, it was worthwhile for me. And when I did a little research on how persons felt about the BPO sector, they were happy because it really has provided more jobs. But a lot of persons are concerned that will we be able to keep, as Jamaicans, a competitive rate? I believe there's a lot of space for the rate to be competitive in that it helps to cut the 20% that Marlon spoke about, because legal services in the US is pretty expensive. I believe that both sectors can benefit. I believe you can offer a competitive rate and it still be attractive to a graduate from the law school, and even someone who is 3, 4, 5 years at the bar and beyond. So when I did document review, the persons sitting with me were persons who just had their baby and they didn't want to be in a full-fledged hardcore litigation practice where you'd really be coming home on the train 10 o'clock at night. They wanted a little bit more flexibility. So they're extremely qualified, but at a different place in their life. Some persons were looking to go into the banking sector as lawyers, and so they wanted to get on some kind of projects where they were seeing things go wrong in banking and how they could be fixed. They wanted that global perspective. And shortly after, a year or two, they would be off temporary projects, that's what it's called, temporary projects, and on to their full-time job. So there was no stigma attached to it, like, oh my gosh, you're doing temporary work, what's the problem? It was more a strategic part of your strategic plan after law school. And I would love for this opportunity to be here for all Jamaican law students who I know, many have spoken to me and they're like, oh my God, I wish I'd started this 10 years ago because there's now so many lawyers. Will I be able to find a job? I believe this is a great opportunity for Jamaican law students to really be able to get a global perspective. Maybe you'll change your mind and do your master's somewhere else and get more foreign training or something like that. But it will give you, I believe it will energize the sector and give you a fresh perspective. So I hope I've been of assistance.
All right, so I must say this morning, I'm extremely happy. I'm very excited to be a part of change, a changing environment. An environment which will see the trajectory of the legal arena becoming completely different. And sometimes we resist change. We resist change because we think it is something that is difficult to do. We resist it because we have a lack of a belief system. We also resist change because we say to ourselves, I have been doing this thing this way, and I will continue to do it. And so I know that as attorneys, we tell ourselves we go to law school to get an education. And what we have got that education to do is to practice. And practice we will, but what we have in mind is a traditional way of doing business, a traditional way of doing the law. But I must say to you that change is something to be embraced. Barack Obama went on that agenda of change, and he became the president of the United States of America. So if you look within the context before I start, we need to address our minds to getting to a stage in our career that we want to embrace this change. Otherwise, whatever it is we are saying to you here today will be of no significance. Because whether we want to accept this or not, what really is this business of legal process outsourcing? We are using technology, we are using people, and we are using a process. So it's really a fusion of technology, people, and process. Gone are the days when a young lawyer left law school and you have to go and do some mundane stuff in a law firm. Gone are those days. Gone are the days when you get up in an office, even as a senior person, and you twiddle your thumbs because there's nothing to do or you do not have much business inside there. Gone are those days. I'm here to say to you that the legal process outsource industry has heralded a change, both for graduates and for senior lawyers, law firms. Law firms, I'm going to speak to you particularly at this point in time, because the fact that I was asked to speak based on the fact that I have set up a legal process outsourcing firm means, and where JAMPRO 2 is trying to head on this government, where they're trying to head is in fact for entities to establish legal process outsourcing centers apart from operating simply from your home, or you need to see it as a business in itself, in the same way that the BPO sector has really mushroomed, blossomed into a huge business. And I see that happening in Jamaica within a very short period of time. We are in a global space, and the reasons given for this business doing so well in India, in all of those other places, is simply because of the matter of globalization and people needing to get their work done elsewhere at a cheaper cost. The demand is also there because people are talking about efficiencies of scale. Where the LPO is concerned, people for some type of matters can give their matters to a firm overnight and have it in their hands the next morning because there's no time limit. We go to work at the law firm 8:30 in the morning and we finish at 5 or at 6 or at 7 if you're going overtime and all of that. This business has no time limit. Depending on the client you're working for, you may find that your operation is going 24/7. In Jamaica, we need to get there. We need to get there because if you look at our economy cannot be sustained on a system where services such as legal services are simply given within some long periods of time. Otherwise, entities are going to be missing the boat. The global market space is saying, we need it now. We need it yesterday, day before yesterday, and that is what the LPO service can do. With the development of the internet technology, what you find is a lot of things can happen at the same time. So in our law offices, we use regular windows and little things like that. When you get to the LPO, your cost is going to be defined by the amount of technology that you put in there, because this technology is going to be helping you to do a number of the things in a very fast manner, quickly, so that you can get them out of there. You have increased automation of legal functions. Again, technology is going to help you to do that. And of course, you have information security. So with that improvement in information security, what you have is that whole business where people were concerned because of lack of confidentiality and all of that, that is now gone through the window. So demand for this service gets greater because there's now a greater level of confidence. New technological tools is causing that. You have accessibility, of course, to outside talent. You have round-the-clock availability, as I've said, and the ability to cut back other operations. That is what companies are looking for. I am asked to add to the question, is this LPO opportunity perfect? It is not perfect, because to say it is perfect would be like my saying to you, I never lie. At some point in our lives, what happens? Those little white lies come, right? So for us to now say that the LPO thing is perfect is akin to that, Because, of course, we have some obstacles. We have lack of awareness. We have information security concerns. We have research and document review dominating the effective work. We have outsourcing requiring updates such as technology, mindset, and culture. So all of those things are barriers in the Jamaican market space to this business of legal process outsourcing. But I'm here to tell you that this opportunity is really real. It is real because, and that the investment is worth it. If you have law firms and other LPO providers earning up to it is estimated they earn up to $40 billion. It seems to me that since we don't want to go along the broke side, what we need to do is to align ourselves with some of those entities so that what happens, a little of the $40 billion will come down to us. True or false? Right. So guess what? I have chosen to do what? I don't want to go on the broke side, so I have chosen to align myself with entities that are along the path of going towards that 40 billion that they are talking about. I'm not there, but I'm saying I have started, right? And when you're doing a race, Usain Bolt years ago when he was in Falmouth and from shared content Trelawney, what happened? Nobody even knew about him. He came to the stadium and he failed. Huh? But the first time he won a race, guess what? Everybody saw him, and now the whole world has seen him. I am very confident, I am very positive that the whole world will very shortly be seeing the Jamaican marketplace as an area within which to operate in the legal process outsource space. It is just a matter of time. And we as attorneys and practitioners and corporations, we have to get on that train. You are simply gonna have to train the persons to do it. Our culture does not operate in the way that an LPO service operates. And so the first thing you have to do to get on board is to train all the work that you get to do. People are coming from law school all over the world, even the same Norman Manley Law School, but they do things differently. What you want, standardization of output. So you may get a bulk of work, volume of work, but the output must be standardized.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV. Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Hello, my name is Blake Widmer. I'm the co-founder of Def Can Coffee. The exposure that we had to the just general community through Business Access TV itself is awesome. It was a big deal for them, you know, having BATV come here, and we were with you guys for probably 4 hours that day. It was a long time. We really appreciate your guys' openness to recognize that, yeah, captions are important. If a deaf person's watching it, how are they gonna understand what's being said? So looking back is just a big boost, encouragement for our team. If you're a business or an organization that wants to have yourselves featured on BATV, or you want to do advertising with BATV, what I would tell them is that you guys listen well. and you ask good questions, and that will help, at the end of the day, deliver a really good product for your business too.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
You're tuned in to JamPro's Legal Process Outsourcing Forum in association with Norman Manley Law School. Please stay tuned for more highlights.
Centennial Legis Solutions was born out of a talk I had with Ms. Diane Edwards from JamPro. And in fact, I had been researching on it for over 4 years before then. And when she said to me last January that this is something that JamPro is looking into trying to promote, I immediately jumped into it by February because I said, Diane had been talking about this thing. I've been researching this thing all along. And guess what? I'm happy I've gone down the road because it's good to jump in the forefront and be a pioneer in this business. And so, I'm happy I've done it.
Speak to the growth of your business so far.
All right, when we started, we had a number of hiccups because we had companies, connecting but not paying, simply because Jamaica was not known for LPO service. Still getting there, but then since then, what we have had is that we have had persons who now believe more in this business because of the push that JamPro has been giving it. And so I have on board local and international partners. I am so happy that JamPro had and Norman Manley Law School had this seminar today, simply because no man is an island. No man stands alone. So what we have to do to get Jamaica to be known, just as what happened in the BPO sector, we simply have to get many, many players on board so that together we have strength in numbers and the world will be able to see us much better.
How can people with law degrees who are not necessarily attorneys be a part of the market? Speak to that, please.
Okay. The general rule is that non-attorneys cannot practice law. But within the LPO sector, some of what we do is not what would be considered the practice of law. And hence, we have some people who have degrees in law would be important. So hence, we have areas that practicing lawyers would be required to do and areas that non-practicing lawyers would be able to do. So it's not as technical as they say it. What is more important is the technology behind it and the level of confidentiality that you can maintain, because that is what is important to the marketplace.
As someone with an LPO business, speak to profitability.
Well, profitability, I'm working towards it. I'm getting there because the investment is significant. But once you have contracts in place, I'm sure that we're going to be making it. The Jamaica landscape is about to change significantly because with the LPO services, what you're going to find, instead of the lower level value chain service that Jamaica gets, the LPO service offers significantly more income for Jamaica. And so I would really be delighted if many other players get on board, get this business moving in Jamaica. We are equally and even more so up to it than India in terms of our location, in terms of the language that we speak, and so on. So I just want to say I'm very happy where Jamaica is heading and the work that JamPro is doing. Norman Manley Law School, that's where I was trained. I'm very happy for the work that they have been doing and the fact that they have come on board with it as well.
So you attended today's forum. What are your thoughts?
It was a very interesting forum. I've been watching JamPro for quite a few years, and I am interested in finding out the success rates of all the entities that they support. A lot of energy goes into it, a lot of investment goes into it, and I think analysis of the ones that succeeded and the ones that failed would help them in their model in future endeavors. They have identified LPOs as a future market that we could enter and also do a lot for the country and the people, especially with worthwhile jobs. Because so often the children in schools are demotivated. They're in an environment which doesn't engender easy learning. They have problems which affect their whole studying, And yet we have so much talent and so much success. Therefore, they are quite a pool that we can call on, especially with good training. And what came out of the meeting today is in the conversation was that we need to change a culture so that they understand that going through school, it was a matter of scoring to pass exams, getting certificates, getting degrees. But now it's about creativity, innovation, credibility, reputation, and no mistakes. Because when you make a mistake, it's very hard to recover.
And Marlon, the audience is asking if you could come up here to make a presentation, because I want to see more of you. To provide some guidelines as to creating the perfect LPO business, if that exists.
The sliver we talked about, the sliver of that $40 million that we talked about. Thank you very much. How big that can be will be directly influenced by how much you can scale. Countries like India participate really substantially in that revenue in the market. And one of the big reasons is there are so many of them. And there are so many of the Indian population that are trained as lawyers. For Jamaica, what are we now? How big are we now? 2.7 million people. Of those, proportionately we're training a lot more lawyers than our market can absorb, but certainly not enough to power number 2 or number 3 LPO industry globally. That, however, is not a factor that's limiting enough to keep us out of the space. I say that because countries like Israel, most of the outsourcing Microsoft does is to Israel. That's as a result of a number of factors, including the fact that the guy who runs eDiscovery at Microsoft is from Israel. But they do well not just with Microsoft, but with companies like Microsoft as well. And they are participating meaningfully in that revenue, $4 billion it is now, that the market is seeing. So all that to say, scale's an issue, but don't think it's an issue that should hinder our progress in the space. Rates may be an issue. If we think in US dollars, you can get services from India as low as $10 US an hour. I'll just let that soak for a second. It may be challenging for Jamaica to deliver those services at those kinds of rates. India is the outlier in that respect. So countries like South Africa or Australia also can't deliver services at those rates. So that, again, shouldn't be the reason we don't play a meaningful part in the process. On the issue of rates and cost, Velma talked about the technology. In my practice at my firm, there are certain pieces of what we do that we offer on alternative fee arrangements. So we are able to say to a client, for a fixed fee of X, you'll get the work done. You don't have to worry about the hourly billings or whether it's going to be higher or lower. X is your cost. And we're able to do that because of what we've done with the technology. So we've tossed technology at these pieces of the process that takes away the human input that's required. And so that fixed fee, the margins on that fixed fee becomes bigger and bigger and bigger as we perfect the technology, because we need less and less and less human time input in the process. So technology is a key piece of how Jamaica could think about how we compete with respect to the rates that can be offered in other places. The time zone issue, few people mentioned, I think that's actually neutral for Jamaica. Because the intention would be, I would think, to service both North America and the UK. we have strong enough ties with both of those jurisdictions to provide services to those jurisdictions successfully. For North America, we have a strength in terms of the time zone. If we're going to collaborate in the way that I know law firms there like to collaborate with their outsourced partners. For the UK, we have the advantage also of being up while they're asleep. Security and ethics was a big concern for a lot of North American and UK companies and law firms thinking about the outsourcing alternative. Security in the sense that you're sending your data overseas to these countries that have less rigid controls around data privacy and data security than your jurisdiction does. Many clients would kibosh the idea for that reason. As Velma mentioned, that's less of an issue now, given the way in which these operations can be structured, where the data actually sits in the host country, while the lawyers in the service delivery center can access that data over the internet. The ethics issue has traditionally been a big issue. Some clients are uncomfortable. We know that North American lawyers and UK lawyers are trained to behave to a certain ethical code. The regulations are similar in terms of professional regulations, and people trust that, and people are comfortable with that. Not so comfortable when you go to India, where there have been examples of not so ethical behavior around things. So you're a massive telecommunications company, and you need document review. It's a highly confidential case. You send that case to your LPO provider, people begin to take pictures of certain documents, people begin to record the contact information of a CEO or a head of marketing because they know they're going to move to that place soon, and they want to be able to contact somebody to get a job. These are all things that have happened and have scared certain clients into not wanting to try the alternative depending on where it is. But LPO providers have responded to that with things like, access controls for areas in which people are working. People can't bring cell phones in. The databases they work in are locked down to read only. People can't print information from the documents they're reviewing. So where we stand today is that, at least in North America and certainly in the UK as well, the market is much more comfortable from a security and ethics perspective. So again, that shouldn't be a barrier that stops Jamaica from participating in the space.
So we were approached by JAMPRO to look at legal process outsourcing. We obviously are the strategic player in the market in that we provide vocational training for attorneys at law after they have completed their undergraduate studies. And we also have a research publication education unit, which also provides training beyond our core training of practicing as attorneys at law. So this was obviously an opportunity that we could not miss.
What would you say was the benefit of this forum for attendees, I guess specifically the graduates of your law school?
There were a mixture of persons in the audience, younger graduates, older persons who have been out for some time, looking at opportunities to be LPO providers, and also our young graduates, or the employability of our graduates is something we are concerned with. And I think the panel was able to set out and know how, some of the risks, some of the challenges, and to explain the market so that people could better understand it. So really it was an educational forum.
In regards to some challenges that were listed by your panels, it sounded like a lot of those can be worked out if lawyers partner with businessmen or entrepreneurs in order to get it off the ground. What are your thoughts on that?
That's clearly so, that we're talking about entrepreneurs, whatever their sets of skills and competencies coming together to provide a space in the market. One of the challenges is scale, as was said, and so it's about people coming together and providing strategic partnerships to deliver the skills.
So now you're having a forum on LPOs. What's next for Norman Manley Law School?
The Norman Manley Law School is interested in providing the training. Many of us are trained abroad. I practiced in the UK for 10 years. We have a pool of people to pull on so that we can actually train attorneys in the kind of practices that will be required from the firms from the UK, the firms from the US. And so we provide the base training, pull in the talent from abroad. So we're looking at providing training so that our graduates can take up the opportunities.
Special thank you to JAMPRO in association with Norman Manley Law School for putting on an informative session. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the Legal Process Outsourcing Forum. I've been your host, Amita Prasadweb, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now, cause we're winning right now.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's Season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225.
Email sales@batvja.com.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
On Point is brought to you by Dargin Global.
A very good evening and welcome to another episode of On Point. I'm your host, Patria K.
And I'm Dennis Chung.
And there's lots happening, but certainly a lot happened last week in Jamaica. Top of the list for you?
For me, because I was in the board meeting, it touches my heart, the matter of the truck that fell on the school child.
7 years old at Clancarty.
Yeah, that one was, I mean, it wasn't our truck. It wasn't operated by NSWMA. We're at board meeting at the time, and you know, when we heard the news, I mean, everyone was just saddened by it, you know, because we just felt the tragedy. We actually sent a management team there, even though we confirmed it wasn't ours, you know, but we know that it was something. Once it has to do with garbage, then people are going to focus on NSWMA, and we knew that we had to do something about it.
You can't be human and not feel after seeing that tragedy. You can't be human and not spare a thought for his little 7-year-old classmates, for the entire school population at Clancarty, his parents. No parent should ever have to bury a child. I've been there, it hurts.
No. I mean, when you send a child to school and then, you know, that happens, it's
freak
really
accident, if ever there was one. An interesting move announced by Sagicor that they are actually going to be allowing some of their workers to work from home. That, I think, is a really good move. I come to understand that there are some government entities who've already taken the lead in 2014. eGov makes sense. They are the electronic platform of the government. I mean, they decided that workers could work from home.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I mean, when someone works from home, their time is more productive. They don't have to travel in the horrendous traffic that we have out there.
Or add to it.
Right, and it costs them less, you know, because they can just get up, you know, once they have the discipline and start working, they're a lot more productive. It's a lot more friendly because they can now work while also being family friendly.
Absolutely.
You know, so and for Sagicor it makes sense because they don't have to find the accommodation for people at work, you know, pay the electricity. So it's a win-win.
I think there are two considerations. One, you can't fry chicken from your house and serve me. There are obviously some jobs that are always going to require that someone's customer
virtual
facing,
chicken.
which I don't want, right? If you're customer facing, there are some jobs that are going to require it. You need a receptionist to answer the phone, etc., etc., etc. But also, there has to be a way to measure that productivity because there are some people who are going to get the opportunity to stay home and just sleep. Put on their pajamas, turn up AC,
you pay based on output.
Exactly. We need to be clear about what your output is supposed to be. And as far as I'm concerned, once people are hitting targets, work from
it don't matter where they work from.
Win-win all around. Well, folks, this week on the show, we're taking a look at brand Jamaica in a different kind of light. We're looking at the orange economy and just how much Jamaica can benefit from the orange economy. Obviously, this conversation coming around because Kanye West saw the opportunity to brand merchandise with Jamaican symbols and sell them on his website. We're talking about what are those properties that we own in Jamaica and how can we make money from them?
But first, here's a look back at some of the top business stories of the week.
At number 5, Facebook has sued an Israeli cyber surveillance firm for allegedly hacking users of its encrypted messaging service, WhatsApp. Facebook says the NSO Group Technologies hacked into the phones of roughly 1,400 users, targeting human rights activists, political dissidents, and journalists. Facebook says the lawsuit filed in San Francisco, USA is the first legal action of its kind. At number 4, MPs in the United Kingdom have voted overwhelmingly for a general election on December 12. This breaks the impasse over Brexit and is Prime Minister Boris Johnson's 4th time calling for an election. Prime Minister Johnson leads a minority government and is hoping to secure a majority in Parliament. Meanwhile, the European Union has formally granted the UK an extension to the Brexit deadline on January 31. At number 3, the Antigua and Barbuda Parliament has given the Gaston Brown-led administration the green light to secure a $15.8 million loan to buy additional shares in regional air carrier Liat. At number 2, Mailpack Group Limited says it plans to come to market with the largest junior market offering in Jamaica's history later this year. There are no details on the initial public offering IPO yet, but analysts say Mailpack may try to raise as much as $500 million Jamaican dollars. And at number 1 this week, the Caribbean Policy Research Institute CAPRI says based on a recent study it conducted, Jamaica's anti-gay laws and discriminatory practices cost the workforce around $11 billion annually. CAPRI says hostility towards gays is preventing the country from earning more from tourism while adding a huge financial burden to the island's mental health services. CAPRI says discrimination alone adds $175 million to the cost of treating mental health among the LGBT community.
When we come back, we look at how Jamaica can tap into the global orange economy. After the break, we're on point.
Outsourced finance and accounting service. Growing companies face a challenge. For you to stay focused on building your business, you need solid financial management with a dependable accounting function, a resource you may not have in-house. That's where we come in. Dodgen Global provides startups and other businesses with outsourced accounting and finance solutions on a fixed fee basis. No matter what your size or fundraising status, we can tailor our services to fit your needs at every stage of your company's life cycle. Whether you want to add expertise to your existing team or completely outsource your accounting and finance functions, we offer reliable and economical options, including accounting system installations and upgrades, from simple to complex, help establishing preferred banking, legal, payroll, benefits, and HR relationships, paperless online bill payment and bookkeeping, financial reporting and advice for management and investors, financial statement audit management, sales tax compliance. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global, website https://dodgen.global.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to On Point. Now, recently there's been a lot of talk about the orange economy and how Jamaica can benefit from it. But what is the orange economy? Take a look.
According to UNESCO, the orange economy, also known as the creative economy, is the bringing together of sectors of the economy whose main purpose is the production or reproduction, promotion, dissemination, and or the marketing of goods, services, and activities that have cultural, artistic, or patrimonial content. The orange economy is usually divided into two categories, the visual arts and the cultural industries. The visual arts include art in movement such as painting, sculpture, installations, and video art, photography, the performing arts and shows such as theater, dance and puppetry, live music, tourism and ecotourism, handcrafts and traditional products, gastronomy, historical centers and archaeological sites, cultural expressions and traditions such as carnivals and festivals, and education in the arts, culture and the creative economy, among others. While the other category, which is the cultural industries, provide goods and or services that can be mass reproduced and disseminated. This includes the publishing industry that produces books, newspapers and magazines, recorded music, literature, radio and the audiovisual industry to include film and television, news agencies and other information services. New media content, software such as video games, digital platforms, software creation and applications, animation, graphic arts and illustration, jewelry, interactive audiovisual content, architecture, fashion and advertising also form part of the cultural industries category.
Join us now, our Executive Director at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, Lily Claire Bellamy, and U.S. Arts Envoy and copyright activist Amanda Colleen Williams. Welcome to On Point, ladies.
Welcome, ladies. Thank you. I'll bold the first question and ask, what makes brand Jamaica so sexy?
Oh, well, it is everything that is Jamaican makes us sexy. The name Jamaica, everybody wants to use the name Jamaica. And if you think about it, it's a very small island, but I don't think there's one person in the world. Probably that's an exaggeration, but most people know Jamaica and associate Jamaica with a great vibe, warm, affectionate people, music,
food.
Exactly. Everything about Jamaica
sports,
resonates.
athletic.
Exactly. We have the distinction of being one of the first countries in the world that had an athlete that won both the 100 and the 200 meters, right? And we take it for granted. So now when our track and field athletes go overseas, if they don't bring back several gold medals, we're upset, right? So we came third at the World Championship and we still weren't happy because we thought we could have gotten more medals. And if you look at the list of all those countries that fell below us, they should have done better than us. But we're just distinct and special. I think we're really blessed in this country. And people are always amazed when they actually come to Jamaica and see all of the differences. We have the beautiful mountains, we have the sea, we have the sand. We have such a vibrant people. And another thing that we don't appreciate that we have and we take for granted is how we are as a people. So you will see our guest, for example. What is his name?
Dennis.
His surname?
Chong.
Exactly. Look at him. That's not normal in the rest of the world. And we take it, you know what I mean? But we take it for granted, right? Things like that we take for granted. And if you notice now, there's all this discussion about biracial and mixed. You are growing up and
people are people.
Exactly. So all of that is what helps to make us so special. And if you've ever been on a plane coming back home with people returning to Jamaica who have been overseas for a while, especially if it's a transatlantic flight, the flight starts out extremely quiet. And the closer it gets to Jamaica, is the more exuberant the people on the plane become. And when the plane lands, you would think they had just witnessed a wonderful concert.
Round of applause.
Exactly. And everybody is like, I'm at home. So one time, I said to somebody, I said, what? He said, I'm at home now. I can't say anything. Nobody can say anything to me. So I said to him, how long have you been away? The man, not a Jamaican born, he is a descendant of Jamaicans. But as far as he's concerned, this is home. This is a place where you can be free. And this freedom is why we are so creative, because things we take for granted, like I don't know if there's anywhere else in the world where I did an interview recently and where I buy my gas. The gas station attendant looks at me, she said, Miss B, what a way you put on weight. No, anywhere else you go in the world and somebody said that to you, that may be cause. Exactly. So I said to her, yes, my dear, but better to be fatter than alive than slim and dead. So we both laughed, okay? But that sort of thing that we just take for granted, we're so creative and innovative, and I don't think we understand how creative and innovative we are. Have you seen the push carts with the sound systems on there?
Yes, yes.
That's not normal.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Well,
How much of that can we bottle and sell?
We can bottle and sell it, but we don't think it is anything, which is why we're not bottling it and selling it. We think it's normal, and it's not normal.
Well, Amanda, your view, what's your view? Because you're not just a copyright activist, but we learned you're a songwriter and a singer. I mean, that must have give you some attraction to Jamaica also.
I have to agree with everything that Lily Claire is saying, because it is a special place, and I never thought about before. Just being a new person in the Arts Envoy with the U.S. Embassy, I didn't ever think that. Yes, Jamaica is a very small island, and compared to a lot of the other places in the world, but yet you'd be hard pressed to find anybody anywhere that hasn't heard of Jamaica. There's all kinds of little islands I've never heard of, but Jamaica has its own vibrancy, like she's describing, its own specialness, its own brand, as we talk about, but it's more than that. It is a soul that comes forward and that resonates with not just the people here, but with people all over the world.
What's the Jamaica that you heard about before you ever came here? What did you know Jamaica for?
Well, I don't know if I'm a good answer of that, because when I was still a teenager, barely 13, my dad was a songwriter before me, and he struggled very hard. He was injured, burned 60% of his body before I was born. That was normal to me too, to look at him that way. But when he had his first success, his first #1 in the States, where did he want to take the family? Here.
Which one was that, at first #1?
His first #1 was a song, it was in 1989, it was called If the Devil Danced in Empty Pockets, He'd Have a Ball in Mine. And it was a saying that he had heard, and they made it into a funny kind of a dance song. And it was a guy named Joe Diffie. And right about that same time, they call it the class of '89, my dad started writing with Garth Brooks, who also just, amazing person to look up to. So for me, it was amazing when I came to Jamaica. We went to a place up in Runaway Bay. I looked it up again and found the name. It's FD Resort. It's still there, and it was appropriate for kids to be there. So I basically laid in a hammock the whole vacation and hung out with the locals.
Yes.
And so I didn't have any impression. I just thought it was the most amazing place, and this is where you come when you have success, to celebrate and to soak up the culture. And it was so funny because my dad, I'm from a place in the mountains, it's called Appalachia, and we have kind of a similar issues, because a lot of people want to be hillbillies or the country people, but yet maybe they see what that is on TV and they don't really know a real person from there, you know? So coming here, it felt a bit like coming home in a way.
And so it's very interesting that you talk about the experience about where you're from, because there are lots of people around the world who want to create their version of Jamaicanness. Not Jamaican, perhaps never been to Jamaica, but purely are looking at the commercial opportunity of brand Jamaica. And I think the difficulty is some people outside are finding ways to exploit and capitalize on that more so than we are here. Where's the gap? Is it that we don't have the kind of entrepreneurial push? We don't have the money? We don't have the machines? Where's the gap?
I don't know if it's that we don't have the money. I think it's that we don't recognize what we have. So you have entrepreneurs in Jamaica who think, no, this isn't something that would sell, but it would sell.
It is selling.
And it is selling, but we take it for granted. If you wake up every morning in Jamaica and you see the sun shining, the day the sun isn't shining, you have an issue. But if you are in England and you wake up every day and you see a gray sky, the day the sun is shining, it is fantastic. So we take what we have for granted and think that it is normal and that nobody would want it. So it's almost to peel the veil off somebody's eyes for them to see, yes, this is something people will buy. Just make it of a good quality, and sell it. People will buy it. That's the whole thing. But what you need to do is to ensure when you come up with your idea that you protect it. So you need to take steps to put your intellectual property rights in place. You need to register your trademark so that when you go out there and you start, because unfortunately, and we've seen this happen in our office where sometimes persons go on a trade show and intellectual property rights are jurisdictional. So if you're protected in Jamaica and you're going on a trade show to the UK, you need to have your trademark protected there.
In the UK?
Yeah, because what happens is we go to these trade shows and unfortunately sometimes it's members of the diaspora who see the product and then they replicate the product.
They have the capital.
Yeah.
They have access to market.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a little man with a great idea who jumped on this opportunity to go to a trade show, who is barely making ends meet, barely able to pay his or her staff. How do they find the funds to protect themselves?
But Patria, what you have to look at, and this is what I always say to people, you can have 100% of nothing, or you can share. Right. And you can have a percentage of something that is extremely successful. So when I say to people, if you're entering into a contract with somebody, you should go to an attorney. They're going to charge me too much money. So you don't pay the attorney and you draft your own contract, okay? Which isn't sometimes worth the paper that it's drafted on.
You go to the lawyer that is Google,
take
down a sample contract, and that's the one that they use.
Right, and then so you have that contract, so you're happy because you have a contract, but it's not a good contract. And so you didn't spend any money, so you are getting 100% of $1. Okay, so you're getting 100% of $1. When you could be getting 50% of $1 million, which is better. But we're like, no, it's mine, and I'm not willing to share. So sometimes a small person needs to partner with somebody who can invest. So both of you are going to benefit. Yes, it's your idea, and you've converted it into a product. But you need somebody to give you the step up. And perhaps, Patriarchy, what people need to understand is, okay, I have nothing, but I have this and I think it can work, and somebody recognizes it can work. You probably have 1 million other ideas that, so you partner for the first one, then you get your money and you use that to invest in the other ventures that you have, and you're 100% owner of all of those others.
How expensive are we talking about this process to protect my
in
whatever?
In Jamaica, to protect your trademark for 10 years in one category, it's a grand total of $17,800.
17,000.
17,800 for 10 years.
Jamaican.
Yeah, for 10 years. And the Development Bank of Jamaica, they have vouchers that can assist you with your IP. There are
grant vouchers, free money.
Yes. There are a lot of agencies of the government of Jamaica that will assist small entrepreneurs. If people come to Jaipur, we will direct them. I mean, that's not our role and function, but we share in government. If you come to Jaipur with something and it's not relevant to Jaipur, we're not going to say, sorry, please leave. We'll say to you, I think you need to go to the DBG. I think you need to go to the Exim Bank. You have a good idea for an export. Yes, perhaps you should speak to somebody at JAMPRO. You should speak to somebody at JBDC. So we share. So people need to just come somewhere where somebody you think you can talk to. We will guide you through the process.
Just before you go where you're going. So I protected myself with my $17,800 in Jamaica, but the reality is the big pie is not here. The dream of export is a real one for many of the people in the orange economy and all kinds of other economies. Let's say I'm going into the United States. What's it going to cost me to protect myself there?
It's going to cost you probably about, and don't hold me to this, but probably about $200 US.
It's about $30,000.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that bad, Patriarchy.
No, but
what I'm saying is you can still get that voucher. You can get that voucher from DBG and say to them, I want to protect my intellectual property in these markets where I'm seeking to exploit it. And again, it comes back to you might find somebody who can go in their pocket and say to you, here's a check, go and get the 500, go and get 500 US, we can partner. But then you need to work out the arrangement.
The issue really is not just the $200. I mean, Amanda, if someone is coming to the US, for example, how receptive are people to partnering with them? I mean, there are legal costs and all of that also that they have to deal with, huh?
Yeah. I think there are people who are very interested in partnering with small business right now. It seems like we've just gotten here on Sunday, but it seems like the entrepreneurial fever is really hitting not just here, but the States even. It's a new movement toward that, and I really feel that just even a few 5-10 years ago, when you'd say, you know, someone asks, what do you do? If you say I'm an entrepreneur, it's sort of they laugh. That meant nothing. But now it's got a title of respect. And so I think that especially in a place like Jamaica that has such an inherent brand to it, and it is difficult. It's like Lily Claire's saying, if it's you can't see yourself. My dad, I love what he said. He told me when I was a kid, you can never look yourself in the eye. And I said, sure you can, Daddy. I'm looking in the mirror. I can see myself in the eye. And he says, no, that's your reflection. So we need each other to see ourselves for what is really special about us. Because it's like Lily Claire says, someone could be the most incredible singer or the most incredible fashion person or the most incredible narrator, and they're not going to see themselves that way. It may be the most obvious thing to everybody around, but that is the importance of that partnership.
We're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to have a discussion a little bit around enforcement, how it works in the US. If you go to a bar and hear someone singing your songs, what rights do you have? And also here in Jamaica, what kind of enforcement muscle do we have? We'll talk about it some more on Point.
Internal audit. Internal audit service is vital when organizations aim to achieve reliable financial reports and regulatory compliance, navigating risks, streamlining operations, and promoting stakeholder confidence. The benefits of a high-quality internal audit are limitless, especially when you secure yours from a firm with deep industry experience, exposure to hundreds of organizations, dedicated professionals, and proven methodologies. Whether you're looking to establish an internal audit function, attain or maintain compliance with various regulations, mitigate your risk of fraud, or gain an overall assessment of your internal controls, you can count on Dodge & Global for reliable and timely business solutions. We've helped organizations nationwide and across industries to establish internal control structures, create an internal audit function, or improve an existing one, and maintain regulatory compliance. We provide ongoing education as regulations and public perceptions change. We are trusted advisors for management and boards. External auditors can be confident in our work and its results. Let Dodge & Global be a turnkey solution for your organization. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Welcome back to On Point, folks. We're talking about the orange economy and the opportunities for Jamaica. Our guests in this segment, we have Amanda Williams, who's a copyright activist, and we also have Lily Claire Bellamy, who's had her hands full in the last week or so, dealing with lots of copyright issues. She's top top. She's head cook and bottle washer at Jaipur. Let's leave it there. Ladies, thank you for staying with us.
Amanda, before the break, Patria raised a question about enforcement, and if you were to go into a bar and saw someone singing one of your songs, you know, how do you deal with that?
Well, that's one of the exclusive rights to copy that you have. So when you talk about copyright for a song, a lot of people think it's copyright, it's something you write, but it's actually the rights to copy. And one of them is the right to publicly perform. So when you have a song that you, as a songwriter, I write the song, and then I would publish it and make it available to the public in some way. So then if I walked into a establishment anywhere, someone was singing my song, I would be happy about that because the collective rights organization would be there to collect the royalty that would be generated from that. Now that would be in an ideal situation. Sometimes there are places where they're either not signatory or for whatever reason that particular performance is not counted, and there are those kinds of things, and that can be frustrating. But typically, it's a good thing to have your song being performed in that way because then that would generate more interest, and then people will develop a preference for it and then seek it out.
How robust is that machinery in, say, the United States? How confident are you that if there's someone in Boulder, Colorado, up in the hills somewhere, singing your song, that you're going to get some royalties off that? That somebody's going to hear it, somebody's going to know, somebody's going to catch that and know that that money needs to come back to Amanda in some way, shape, or form?
How confident am I in that particular part? I don't know that I can say that every performance is counted that way, but it's sort of, my dad would say it's a numbers game. You put all this out there, you know, that it's both sides, because if I keep my stuff to myself and I don't allow it out, then I have all the rights to it. I can be sure that it's always collected and monitored.
But then you earn nothing.
Earn nothing, or very little. But if I take the risk, if I step forward with the material in a planned way, as we were talking about, some people just think you just put it out and it go. It's a business. You have to think business-like with it. You have to have your plan, and you have to execute that plan.
I think the fear for some of the smaller content producers, music producers in Jamaica is, let's take, for example, radio royalties. They pay radio royalties, they don't listen to every single station, they can't go to every single party. And as far as I understand it, it is those that get the most airplay that the majority of the royalties go to. So if one community radio station decides to play one song from a small artist, because he's not in heavy rotation, he may not ever get anything. Do we, in the process that we have now, not look out for that small man? Is there something that needs to be fixed?
We definitely can improve the monitoring systems as technology gets better. If you have the app, for example, that you can hold your phone up in a place and it'll tell you, you push the button, it tells you what song is playing. That technology can very well and should very well be being used more robustly, especially like you're talking about with the smaller radio stations and with the smaller venues, because like you said, what's 30 cents more to the millionaire, but yet the 30 cents to the family can make the difference between having the money to buy the groceries. And so you're very much right in that.
So Lily, how do we use technology here? Do we have something
We have actually, Amanda is going to be sharing with our collective management organizations at the Ligony Club. Because we do have vibrant collective management organizations in Jamaica, and they work well and they pay out regularly. So for example, I know Jam Copy, which is the reproductive rights organization, they'll have a payout in December of this year. JCAP just celebrated 21 years of existence in Jamaica, and they have paid out millions of dollars to Jamaicans who are members of the collective management organization.
But I'm going to stick up in because the JCAP payouts are more to foreign rights holders
but
than
let
they
me
are
finish.
to local ones.
Yes, but that's not JCAP's fault. You know whose fault that is? That is what we play and what we listen to. So if you listen to the radio, how many of our local artists' work is being played versus other works? So if Amanda's work is in heavy rotation on a Jamaican radio station,
yes,
she's a member of a CMO, she's gonna get the money. If you have a song and it's not being played, you can't get any money.
And so this is where
what it is it's what our playlists are.
Yes.
So our playlists determine the royalties.
But this is where it gets tricky, because the In the Streets man will tell you, authentic, gritty Jamaican dancehall is not radio worthy. What you go to the dance hall and hear them playing in its rawest, truest form will never make it to terrestrial TV or to a radio station, because it's not clean. It's not fit for airplay. And so those people, how do they benefit?
But they still go to events,
They're going to wedding and passa
they go
and
to
hot
events,
Mondays
they
and
do, which is why when you see those ads on TV that say, if you are having an event, you need to get the license. That's why, which is why, and this, you see, one hand can't clap. So if I'm having an event, I need to get the license, because at the end of the day, the same person who I'm saying, but him is a big artist, why I'm begging me? But you didn't get the license, you don't want to pay out the money. So when he's a big artist and now 10 years or 20 years down the road, he's suffering, is because only 10 people come into my party, right? So I don't need to pay you a lot of money because only 10 people are coming.
Gotcha.
And that's where you will get all of the authentic music being played. That's not necessarily on the radio station. But if we're not being honest, then
right.
So it's a circle. So everybody has a role to play.
Yes.
So everybody needs to participate in the process. And the other thing, sorry, I just want to say this. The other thing is, we need to become members of our collective management organization so that they can grow.
Yes.
You understand? Because they're all members of the international bodies. So it doesn't matter. All the money goes into the pot, and then the money gets distributed as appropriate. But all of us have to be willing, because when you say, oh, I had a party and I told them I'm having 5 people, when you really had 5,000, yes, you get a lot of money, but then the people who made your party work, they end up with nothing.
So what they're supposed to do then, and I don't know if this is how it works also, Amanda, they actually pay a fee to the recording.
Which they?
Yeah.
The person who's holding the party.
Okay.
And then they will come and monitor it, yeah? That's how it works?
There's different ways, and I don't know how it works here in Jamaica, but one of the businesses that I've had to, they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So during the songwriter lean times, which it's been very lean in terms of the royalties in the certain aspects, we started a venue. So I get to see both sides of it. And I definitely understand, you see, I make a joke, it takes me a long time every month to figure out how to pay myself correctly, because you're trying to pay for the song part, and you're the performer, and you're the recording, and you're the producer, and all of these things.
Yes.
And all of these roles have value. You hear about the producers that get upset because they say now, well, if I don't get my money on the front end, I'm not getting anything. And you can understand how quickly someone can be very upset by that. And I can empathize with those feelings too. But the way that it works with our venue is that you register as a venue, and then you pay a certain amount of a blanket fee, and then each quarter you submit a set list of all of the music that's played there.
So you need to keep track of your playlist?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And it is a lot of paperwork.
And I can see how the DJ who wants the spontaneity, wants to feel out the crowd, isn't having this structured, pre-rehearsed kind of vibe coming into his party. When you look at him and tell him, party, at the end of this, I need to know the songs that you played, says, you just killed my creativity.
Yeah.
Well, he can have an assistant. That could be even more somebody that comes in, an intern, Somebody that's learning, their job is to write down the songs.
Good solution.
You know?
But isn't there any way we can develop better technology that does all of this? I mean, the songs are digital now, eh? So, I mean, you can tell what the title of a song is just by plugging something in.
Yeah, partly, but what if it's a live show? That's another thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about room for innovation. There is a giant opportunity for some very smart, technologically inclined person.
To
I don't know
solve
if
a
it's
worldwide
possible.
problem.
I don't know if it's possible to do that right now, but it will be.
I want to go back to protection and protection of things Jamaican. What right now have we protected?
What do you mean?
So,
Like the Kanye West
Jerk,
situation.
Blue Mountain.
Okay, fine. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so we have several intellectual property laws. You just mentioned jerk. So that jerk is Jamaica jerk.
Jamaica jerk in particular.
Yeah, it's protected as a geographical indication.
Not jerk.
No.
So I can put paprika on a piece of fish and call it jerk fish, and that's okay.
Yeah, you can.
Did we miss the boat?
Well, we're not the only ones, you know. Cheddar cheese, cheddar. There are a lot of things that have the potential to be geographical indications that have lost their distinctiveness and have almost become generic. So to get them back to that level, it would mean that you literally have to claw it back to show why it is so distinctive and so unique.
So we've got Jamaican jerk.
We have Jamaican jerk, we have Jamaica rum.
Jamaica rum.
Yeah, we do. We have rum. So we have rum and jerk as two geographical indications protected under the Protection of Geographical Indications Act. And there's something I must say which is important, because the government of Jamaica is a signatory to the World Trade Organization trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement, the WTO TRIPS agreement,
Yes.
right? So under that TRIPS agreement, there are two articles that focus specifically on the protection of geographical indications. You have a higher level of protection for wines and spirits than you have for other goods. But because we are primarily producers of goods, the government amended our protection of geographical indications law to give the same level of protection for goods as for wines and spirits. So basically,
yes.
I'm going to go through it. So basically, no, you can't say Jamaican jerk style or Jamaican jerk type. It is just like you can't say champagne style or champagne type.
Our version of Jamaican.
Right, no, because we have that higher level of protection here in Jamaica for our authentic geographical indications.
I know you're going to explain, but I do want to ask. I
yes,
just have to
no
stick the
problem.
pin. Why wouldn't anything Jamaican apply? So why do I have to get a specific designate protection for rum and for jerk? Yeah. If it's not made in Jamaica, why in the world would you be able to call it Jamaican?
Because there is no protection for the names of countries. From the year 2008, the government of Jamaica has been making attempts at the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is the United Nations body with responsibility for intellectual property rights protection, to get country names protected, right? So that people, yeah, but patriarchy, we come right back to the beginning of this program. What makes us so special? Everybody wants to be a Jamaican. Everybody wants a piece of Jamaica. So there has not been a great take-up from the other member states.
Ghana don't want to protect Ghana, Trinidad don't want to protect Trinidad, the USA doesn't want to protect the USA, make America great again.
What you have to understand, patriarchy, is when you travel and when you go in our supermarket or any store in Jamaica that sells any product, I'm giving you that exercise, and anybody who is watching this program, I'm giving you that exercise. I've gotten in trouble because I've gone into stores and I see people buying a Jamaican product, and I say to them, you know, you're not buying authentic castor oil. You're wasting your money right at the cashier. I'm telling them that. I said to them, that's not going to do anything for your hair. Your hair not going to grow. It's not going to help you. You may as well put it back on the shelf. The Jamaican one is this brand. And so the person will go back.
Even though the name has the name Jamaica
it says
in
Jamaica, there's no Jamaica in it. but there's no international protection to stop persons from using country names. So tomorrow morning you could wake up and you could call a product Barbados, whatever, or Guyana, or whatever, because it's not protected. And there are a few countries who are supporting us at WIPO, but not that many. So it's because, again, there are only a few countries that other countries want to use their country names, and we're one of them.
Top of the list.
All right.
Yep.
We have to leave it there, ladies. I mean, a very interesting conversation, and there's a lot more, Patricia.
I'm going to name everything.
You haven't even spoken about your favorite singer, Kanye West, yet, and what he did here.
I'm going to name everything, all kind of things. Amanda, the conversation must continue.
Yes.
Clearly, there's a lot to share.
Yes.
There's a lot of discussion that needs to happen, and we thank you for spending the time with us. Lily Claire,
thank you.
You're ours. You're Jamaican, Lily Claire. And you're not going anywhere. We appreciate having you on the show today.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, thank you for joining us here on Point. And when we come back, numbers and word on the street.
Numbers.
Yes.
Corporate restructuring services. In today's evolving commercial and economic environment, businesses are continually seeking opportunities to manage operating costs and tax positions, as well as contain cash expenditures. Entity structuring can help achieve these goals, but often presents many challenges for multinational corporations. In addition, the OECD's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting (BEPS) proposals are expected to impact the bottom line of affected organizations and result in some business restructuring. Crow Jamaica delivers an integrated approach to clients' corporate and reorganization needs. Services include simplifying group structures, executing domestic and cross-border transactions including mergers, demergers, disposals, and company migrations, transferring assets and business units, aligning legal structures to business models, establishing national or regional hubs, converting subsidiary company structures to branch structures and vice versa, integrating legal structures following a merger or acquisition, providing practical advice and assistance throughout the planning, development, and implementation phases of corporate reorganizations. Crow Jamaica assists businesses and other advisors in developing and implementing efficient, cost-effective legal structures and business operating models. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Welcome back to On Point. The orange economy contributes significantly to the overall global economy. Just how much? Here are the numbers.
In 2011, exports of creative goods and services reached $646 billion globally. Measured in trillions of dollars, if the orange economy were a country, it would be the fourth largest economy in the world after the United States, China, and Japan. It's estimated that the orange economy provides some 144 million jobs directly and indirectly globally. Almost 1.77% of the world's exports of creative goods originate in Latin America and the Caribbean. More than 64% of these exports go to developed economies.
Our On Point team hit the streets and asked, what can the Jamaican government do to help the country profit more from our creative industries?
The government can help the creative industry by having a place where these people can go, and the government can subsidize them a loan to whatever, how much money they need to start their business, to get themselves off the ground.
First of all, the creative industry has to help itself by recognizing it is an industry and not a hustle.
So for the creative industry, I know that for most of the times, creatives have a hard part in the pricing. Now, people don't value art in Jamaica as they should, so anything over 10 grand, people don't want to pay for it. In order to help produce that, in order to help build that, it would be great if the government can push more artistic foundations. We have Edna Manley, and we have UTech that do a few courses, but that's it. What do they really do in order to push the creativity of Jamaicans to make more art, to make better art? Right, we have a lot of mediocre art and we have a lot of talent in Jamaica that is not being utilized. But for the government to actually help us, they need to invest in us. And investing in us not only meaning the schools, but individuals.
I think everything, all of them should come under one umbrella. So, and form like an organization, and probably the government can sponsor that organization.
Government can help the creative industry by educational programs to allow them to understand such things such as copyright, and maybe loans or grants, because at the end of the day, Jamaica needs diversification when it comes down to different fields. Not all of us can be accountants and lawyers. The creative industry is one that should be cherished and one that should be pushed forward for young people.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test.
Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price.
It's Island Hour, free eye test.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Lots to talk about. And that was an interesting discussion.
Very interesting discussion. You know what hit me though is that we've been talking about this thing for so long, and we haven't taken advantage enough of the Jamaican name. I mean, people take more advantage of Jamaica than we have, you know, from a profit point of view. Jamaican music, you know, reggae music, or sports, you know, it's just like we have a lot of the things that we have here that are brand Jamaica is made in China.
Go to a souvenir shop anywhere in Jamaica and check out the actual items that are in there. The vast majority are not made here, and that's a travesty. I think we still haven't figured out the formula how to commercialize that magic that is branded Jamaica. And I think of so many opportunities that we could have and should have done it. Every 4 years Olympics comes around and we do what with that opportunity? Reggae Girls the other day, every time we have Sumfest. I mean, so many of these opportunities where we are shining stars, batting way above our weight. And we do what with that opportunity?
We don't, because the truth is that we've taken so long to, for example, infuse reggae music into tourism. We haven't been able to infuse the sports into tourism, which is I think that is where Jamaica needs to focus on tourism. But we haven't been able to create a tourism brand that is really authentic Jamaican brand tourism. You know, we're still selling it as a sun, sea, you know, that sort of thing. The hip strip, for example. I mean,
you are team hip strip, Montego Bay hip strip. You are.
I mean, we should be making $600 a night per room on the hip strip.
Here's another opportunity I think that we need to look at. So we very much are dependent on the tourism, the actual 4-5 million people who come here, and as much as we can extract from their pockets when they come here. But the power and weight of a brand Jamaica, I mean, Amanda talks about the fact that when her daddy made his first #1 song, he wanted to come to Jamaica. And that seed was planted long before he came here. Go on Amazon, go on any of those selling platforms, and there's so many Jamaica branded items that are being sold by some Arab man somewhere or some Chinese man somewhere. We also need to recognize the opportunity that is the global marketplace. People who will never be able to afford the thousands of US dollars or pounds to be able to realize that dream and come to Jamaica, but who still want to drink coffee out of a Jamaica cup and feel like they're there. We really need to recognize that very many of those opportunities exist. They are low-hanging fruit. And I don't think this is only a government imperative. I think it's going to take some really creative entrepreneurs to recognize the worth and capitalize on the opportunity.
Yeah, you know, well, the truth is that the entrepreneurial class is really just starting to come back after that FinSac debacle. But you're right. I mean, we just have not been able to take advantage of the situation.
Well, folks, that's where we have to call it quits for Jamaica on Points today. I've got to say a big thank you to the Jamaican crew working on the other side of the cameras. Thanks also to you, the viewers at home, who tune in every single week. Until next week, I'm Patria Kay.
And I'm Dennis Chum.
On Point.
On Point was brought to you by Dargin Global.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date. Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live